A big top priority for me over the summer is we've been looking and talking to parents across the state in every county about one of their concerns. We heard a lot of concerns about school lunches. So we began to dig into that over the summer to see why are we not covering school lunches. We take federal dollars where people pay into their federal taxes. We take state and local dollars. Why are we not covering kids' lunches when parents have already been taxed twice and they're being hit with a third tax over the summer to say, actually, you still owe us for school lunches. So we told the districts, you're going to provide these lunches for these kids. You have $13,000 a kid, minimum. Most likely it's closer to $15,000 or $16,000 per kid. Costs about $400 a year to feed the kids lunches. Districts can prioritize the kids and make sure the kids get fed. We have been on the phone, it's a 24/7, but we've been on the phone a lot with districts across the state that have been working very actively to do this. Our team is here to help districts get to that goal. We've seen a lot of creativity. We just saw Indian Public Schools announce that they're doing it last week. But we're going to continue to make sure that we're prioritizing kids in our budgets at the local district level. We've also seen, and I've heard, superintendents push back on this. They want more funding. I'll be really clear. This is not a funding issue. It's a spending issue. Schools have record amounts of funding, including $1 billion in reoccurring revenue additionally over the last 4 years. So the taxpayers of Oklahoma have provided a record amount of funding for schools. We want them to prioritize kids eating while they're at school over administrative staff, administrative salary. We're happy to work with any district to get to that goal. And again, we've got 70, 80 right now we're actively working with to get to that goal. By the way, most districts have met that goal. So we have about 370 that do this. So we will continue to work to make sure that that's at 100%. And I will continue to work with you all of any suggestions. You hear any feedback, let us know. But again, a lot of great conversations going on around the state of how we can get to that number. And we can tell kids when you come to school, your parents already paid for these lunches. We're going to make sure that you get them.
Superintendent Walters, can I ask a question about
Sure.
that? Do you know how many districts are already providing free lunch for
370.
across the board?
Yep. And that's big, small, suburban, across the board.
Superintendent Walters, is that, I occasionally read the paper, and I see that even Kingfisher was awarded some kind of grant to do that. What prevents some school districts from receiving that type of grant? I realize those are federal dollars, I assume.
Yes, sir.
But what would prevent other schools from being able to do that same thing?
That's a great question. So there's two federal programs that a lot of districts apply for and receive, right? So some of it covers 100% student lunches, some of it covers 80%, et cetera. A lot of poverty levels go into those grants. We do have a lot of districts that are eligible that did not apply, that we are telling that you need to be applying for child nutrition dollars for your kids. We've also seen a lot of districts, frankly, a lot of ones complaining, not only have massive carryover funds, which are funds they're saying we're going to carry them over the next year, they have millions of dollars in carryover in their child nutrition programs. So we've been telling them when money is earmarked for child nutrition, there's really no reason to roll those dollars over and not make sure every kid in your district is fed when those are earmarked for those things. So those are some of the things when you talk about some of those dollars that are awarded, making sure that they're getting where they need to go.
Superintendent Walters, just clarifying, if some of these federal dollars go away, which I realize now they're coming maybe directly to the state, possibly, I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know how all that budget is being enrolled to us.
Sure.
Is that going to, those programs that are out there that are actually receiving part of this 317, I'm assuming that number would possibly decrease if those federal dollars came to the state and the state chooses not to roll that back out in nutrition dollars. Is that possible, or is that, how is that going to play into these that are already receiving those dollars?
I appreciate this question because I've heard a lot of misinformation going around the state about the Trump administration's cutting this, the Trump administration's cutting that. They are. They are absolutely cutting programs that don't benefit kids directly. And what they have said is, I talked to London McMahon just a few weeks ago about this. The goal is to get the money to the states to use appropriately. So what we've done is we already submitted the largest waiver in the country for our federal dollars. And one of the top goals is not only to feed every kid, to make sure that every kid is nutritiously fed. So you're gonna see us continuing to work towards nutritious meals in schools. Again, I mean, to say I'm inundated with it is an understatement. Parents want to make sure their kids not only are eating, but are eating well in schools. The Trump administration is dedicated to that, so as they're cutting and providing more flexibility, their goal is to give us the dollars directly so we can make local decisions as a state on how to spend those funds. And for us, that would be a top priority. So I would say no matter what happens in those type of cuts programmatically, we will always put an emphasis on making sure the kids are eating and eating well in the schools, and making sure that these dollars are going directly to the classroom, to the students. Again, as they're cutting these administrative costs at the federal level, we want to continue to decrease administrative costs at the local level. So again, that leaves more money for merit pay for teachers, tutoring programs, summer school programs, child nutrition. And so these are all things that I think need to be prioritized. And I believe with the cuts, with the waivers being issued by the feds, we're going to see more opportunities and more conversations with this board of, okay, with this new waiver, we can now spend X amount. Where do we want to spend it? And so I do see more opportunities